Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen someone shine so bright, only to burn out just as fast? Have you ever felt the fire in your gut, but struggled to stay lit when things got hard? Talent may get your foot in the door, but what keeps you standing, growing, thriving in that room isn't talent. It's discipline. The grind no one sees. The choice to show up when it's easier to quit. The rhythm beneath every triumph. So if you're ready to last longer than applause, let's talk about what keeps you in the room. Talent is beautiful. It's flashy, it's captivating, and it catches attention like a flame in a dark room. When someone walks into a space with talent, people notice. Heads turn, doors swing open, opportunities present themselves almost effortlessly, because talent has that kind of magnetic energy. But talent alone is not enough. Talent is the spark. It's the ignition to a much bigger engine, but it's not the whole fire. It's just the beginning, not the destination. And this is where so many people get confused. They believe that being gifted is the goal, that if they can sing better, write better, play better, speak better, then success will chase them down and beg them to stay. But talent without effort is like lightning with no storm. It shows up once, makes a sound, lights the sky, and disappears just as quickly. You see, talent can open the door. It can get you noticed. It can give you a head start. But once you're inside that room, a room full of other talented people, a room full of hungry minds and sharp voices and creative souls, talent becomes common. Suddenly, your gift is no longer the loudest voice in the room. Everyone in there has it. And that's when the difference is made. That's when the spotlight starts to shift. Not toward the most naturally gifted, but toward the most disciplined. The ones who stay late. The ones who show up early. The ones who aren't just working when they're inspired. They're working when they're exhausted, when they're rejected, when no one's watching. The spark got them in, but the Xeris fire they built with discipline, that's what keeps them in. We grow up thinking talent is the most important thing, the magical ingredient that separates the great from the rest. But the truth is, raw talent is unrefined potential. It's like having gold deep inside a mountain, but never digging it out. It's like owning a Ferrari, but never learning how to drive. Without discipline, talent is wasted. It becomes a hollow echo of what could have been. But when you combine that talent with structure, with commitment, with consistency, it turns into something unstoppable, something powerful, something sustainable. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not always pretty. It doesn't always get applause. It's waking up early to train when everyone else is sleeping. It's rewriting the same sentence 10 times because you know it can be better. It's doing the vocal warm-ups even when you don't have a performance. It's practicing your moves when there's no stage, rehearsing your message when there's no microphone, showing up for yourself even when nobody else is clapping. It's the invisible work, the lonely hours, the quiet sacrifices. But it's those moments that build something lasting. You can't rely on talent to carry you through life, because eventually life will challenge you in ways talent can't solve. You'll be tired. You'll be overwhelmed. You'll be doubted. You'll face people who are more talented than you. That's not where you lose. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline shows up when talent checks out. Discipline doesn't need motivation. Discipline doesn't ask if you feel like it. Discipline says, we'll move anyway. It's the soldier of your purpose, the guardrail of your vision. People often say, she's so lucky, she's so gifted. It comes easy to her. What they don't see is the years of private struggle behind that public success. They don't see the hours she spent mastering her craft when no one believed. They don't see the mistakes, the failures, the heartbreaks, all stitched together with the thread of discipline. That's what greatness is really made of. Not magic, not shortcuts, but unshakable consistency. If you think talent will always be enough, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because talent will eventually meet resistance. That's life. You'll get tired. You'll get rejected. You'll doubt yourself. And in those moments, talent may hesitate, but discipline won't. Discipline keeps moving. Discipline keeps building. Discipline is the reason someone with half your talent might surpass you. Not because they're better, but because they're as hungrier, more consistent, more willing to work through the pain, to grow through the grind, to embrace the boring, repetitive, difficult parts of becoming excellent. You don't need to be the most talented person in the room. But if you're the most disciplined, the most committed, the most unshakable, the room will make space for you. Not because you impress them for a moment, but because you earned your seat over time. And nothing is more powerful than a person who combines talent with discipline. That's the kind of person who doesn't just walk through doors. They stay, they grow, they lead. So yes, talent will get people to look at you. Talent might open a few doors. But discipline will keep you in the room when others walk out. It will keep you off growing when others get comfortable. It will keep you rising when others plateau. Because discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being present over and over again. Even when you're scared, even when you're tired, even when the room feels too big. That's how real greatness is made. Not just with sparks, but with fire that refuses to go out. Discipline is what turns raw potential into refined excellence. It is the force that molds your natural ability into something unstoppable. Talent, on its own, is unpredictable. It can show up strong one day and go silent the next. But discipline is steady. It shows up when you don't feel like it. It moves when motivation fades. It pushes when you want to pause. And that's why discipline, not talent, is what transforms possibility into reality. Without discipline, even the most gifted individuals fall short of their destiny. Because in the real world, talent alone doesn't win. Talent is the invitation, but discipline is the one who actually shows up and stays. Think about any great dancer, athlete, musician, speaker, artist, or entrepreneur you admire. Yes, they probably started with a spark of natural ability, but that spark alone didn't get them to where they are now. What took them there? And what kept them there? Was hours, days, months, years of practice, repetition, failing, learning, refining. They didn't wake up every morning driven by passion or inspiration. Most of their progress was made on the days when they didn't feel inspired at all. But they got up anyway. That is discipline. Discipline is a choice you make over and over again, especially when no one is watching. It's showing up to rehearse your lines, even when your heart feels heavy. It's pushing through another round of training when your body is screaming to stop. It's studying when your friends are out partying. It's choosing the long road over the quick escape, the uncomfortable growth over temporary ease. Discipline is not glamorous. In fact, most of it is invisible. But every great achievement stands on its shoulders. There's a reason why so many incredibly talented people don't reach their full potential. It's not because they aren't gifted enough. It's because they rely on that gift too much. They think the doors will always open, just because they're talented. But life doesn't work that way. You might get through the door once, but if you don't grow, if you don't sharpen your craft, if you don't take the time to develop grit and excellence, someone else will. And they'll stay in the room longer than you. Because discipline turns your natural gifts into refined tools. It sharpens you. It prepares you for moments you don't even know are coming. Talent might carry you through the first performance, the first tryout, the first impression. But it's discipline that helps you adjust, adapt, and perform at your best again and again. It builds stamina. It teaches you how to keep showing up, even when things aren't going your way. Discipline is also the best teacher you'll ever have. While talent can make things feel easy, discipline forces you to confront your weaknesses and grow through them. Discipline teaches humility. It teaches you how to listen, how to take feedback, how to own your mistakes without falling apart. It's through disciplined effort that you build real confidence. Not just the appearance of confidence, but the unshakable belief that comes from knowing, I've worked for this. I've earned this. There's also something deeply empowering about living a disciplined life. When you learn to say no to distractions, no to laziness, no to your own excuses, you start building power inside of you. Not power over others, but power over yourself. And that is the most important kind of power there is. Because when you can master your habits, your thoughts, your time, you become unstoppable. You don't just hope for results, you create them. You don't wait for opportunity, you prepare for it. And when it comes, you are ready, not because you're lucky, but because you're disciplined. Let's be clear, discipline is not perfection. It's not about never messing up. It's not about never being tired or discouraged. Discipline is about what you do after those moments. It's about getting back up after you fall. It's about showing up the next day, and the next, and the next. It's about building momentum, not in giant leaps, but in small, consistent steps. Discipline doesn't need you to do everything right all at once. It needs you to keep going when it's hard. That's where the magic happens. And here's what's beautiful: discipline is a skill you can grow. It's not reserved for a few special people. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you choose focus over distraction, commitment over comfort, responsibility over reaction, you are strengthening your discipline muscle. You are shaping yourself into the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does. In fact, discipline gives dream structure. Without discipline, a dream is just a wish. It floats, it fades. It makes you feel good for a moment, but it doesn't go anywhere. But when you apply discipline to a dream, you give it legs. You give it direction. You put that dream on a schedule. You attach it to action. You say, I'm not just hoping, I'm building. That's when transformation begins. That's when dreams start becoming reality. So, if you've been sitting on talent, waiting for something to happen, this is your wake-up call. Your gift is not enough. It never was. It's a beautiful beginning, but it's not the full story. What writes the story is what you do every day. The work you put in when no one's clapping. The effort you give when no one's watching. The resilience you show when no one's cheering. Let that truth sink in. Your potential is powerful, but only if you activate it through discipline. Discipline doesn't ask how talented you are. It asks, will you show up again today? Will you do the work when it's boring? Will you stay focused when it's hard? Will you commit even when you don't feel ready? Because that's what it takes. So don't just be the person who shines once. Be the person who stays, who improves, who lasts. Be the person who turns talent into legacy. And that, my friend, starts with one word: discipline. The world is overflowing with talented people. You see them everywhere, in classrooms, on stages, on social media, in the workplace. Individuals who can sing with flawless pitch, create breathtaking art, speak with charisma, perform with brilliance. But look closely, and you'll see something deeper. Most of them don't last. The spotlight may shine for a moment, but it fades just as quickly. Because the truth is, talent might get you into the room, but only discipline determines whether you stay. The room is filled with gifted people, and that's what makes it dangerous. Because in a space where everyone is talented, talent is no longer what sets you apart. It becomes the baseline, the entry ticket. Once you're in, the real competition begins. And it's no longer about who can perform the best one time. It's about who can stay consistent, who can handle the pressure, who can evolve, grow, and remain excellent long after the initial applause has died down. Discipline is what separates the temporary from the timeless. It is what turns the gifted into the great. Because when the high of recognition wears off, when the adrenaline fades, when the external praise quiets down, all that's left is your routine, your habits, your ability to show up and deliver again and again and again. That's what keeps you in the room. That's what makes you impossible to ignore. And this is where people fall short. They believe that one moment of brilliance is enough. That if they get one big break, one viral moment, one opportunity, then everything will fall into place. But success is not built in bursts. It's built in rhythms. It's not just about getting in the room. It's about learning how to own it, sustain it, thrive in it when no one is clapping anymore. Discipline does not wait for motivation. Motivation is emotional. It's fleeting. It's loud one day and silent the next. But discipline is a decision. It's a system. It's the backbone of your calling. You don't need to feel inspired to practice your craft. You don't need to feel perfect to keep showing up. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what your standard is. And in rooms full of gifted people, standards are everything. Because someone will always be more talented than you. Someone will always have a louder voice, a better start, more resources. But that doesn't matter if they're not disciplined. And it doesn't matter if you are. Because in the long run, discipline wins. Every time. Talent might give you the first performance. But discipline prepares you for the 100th. Talent may help you deliver when everything is aligned. But discipline makes you great when everything goes wrong. In the room of high achievers, discipline is what earns respect. It's what builds legacy. It's what makes you reliable, not just impressive. People don't hire the most talented. They hire the most consistent. People don't invest in the most gifted. They invest in the most dependable. You don't build trust on talent. You build it by showing up, day after day, prepared, focused, and hungry to improve. And the beauty of discipline is that it's not flashy. It doesn't need the stage. It thrives in the background. While talent screams for attention, discipline works in silence. While talent can fade under pressure, discipline endures. It's the late night hours when you choose to rehearse instead of rest. It's the early mornings when you train without needing to be told. It's the hard feedback you choose to listen to instead of defend against. That's what sustains you when the glamour is gone. There will be seasons in your life when everything feels stagnant. When your career isn't growing, when the platform doesn't seem to be expanding, when your creativity feels dull. That's when most people walk out of the room. They think they've peaked, or that the moment passed. But the ones who stay, the ones who discipline their mind, their body, their focus, those are the ones who rise when the tide shifts, because they never stopped working while others were waiting. You must understand that discipline is not just about the work. It's about your mindset. It's choosing to take ownership of your growth, even when no one else is noticing. It's not blaming the industry, the system, the environment, the timing. It's saying, if I'm still in the room, then I'm still responsible for how I show up in it. That mindset transforms pressure into power. It turns routine into ritual. And it makes you stronger than every obstacle in your way. Even the best rooms will test you. You'll be overlooked, criticized, compared. You'll see others rise faster. You'll wonder if you're good enough. But talent is not the answer in those moments. Discipline is. Because discipline allows you to survive discouragement and still keep building. Discipline allows you to outlast trends. It makes you sharper when others grow comfortable. And when your time comes, when the spotlight circles back, you will be ready because you stayed. You stayed when it was hard. You stayed when it was quiet. You stayed when others walked out. And that's what makes you worthy of being in the room. Not just for a moment, but for a movement. Remember, talent may be what catches their attention, but it's discipline that holds it. Talent might get you called, but discipline makes sure you're chosen again and again. And the world doesn't need more one-hit wonders. It needs people who know how to last, how to evolve, how to show up with excellence no matter what room they're in. So don't get caught chasing moments. Build rhythms, build habits, build character so strong that no room can shake you. Because at the end of the day, rooms will open and close. Trends will rise and fall. But your discipline, that's the one thing that keeps opening doors, even when others are locked out. And when you live with that kind of standard, when your discipline becomes louder than your talent, you won't just stay in the room, you'll own it. When people speak of dreams, they often paint them in vibrant colors. Castles in the sky, applause from crowds, a moment that changes everything. And while all that sounds poetic, it's easy to forget one crucial truth. Dreams are nothing without discipline. They are ideas floating in the air, soft as smoke, until discipline gives them weight. It is not enough to dream. Everyone dreams, but not everyone builds. What separates those who wish from those who live their dreams is a simple, often brutal force called discipline. And in that force lies the bridge between desire and reality. Think about this: a goal without a plan is just a wish. You can speak your dream out loud, write it on your vision board, post it with a filter on social media. But until you wake up day after day and take consistent steps toward it, when it's boring, when it's lonely, when it hurts, it will never become real. That's the part people don't glamorize. The early mornings, the lonely nights, the rejection, the silence after the applause. Discipline steps in when excitement steps out. It's the difference between starting strong and finishing well. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation has walked out of the room. And let's be honest, motivation is a mood. It fluctuates. It depends on how we feel, what the weather is like, what someone said to us, or how many likes our post got. Motivation is emotional, but discipline, it's not tied to feelings. It's tied to values, to a bigger why, to a deeper purpose. It says, I show up not because it's easy, not because I feel like it, but because I've committed to this, and commitment doesn't clock out. Without discipline, dreams become heartbreak. Because you will see the vision, feel the potential inside you, know what you could be, and yet remain stuck in place. There is nothing more painful than knowing you're capable of something great and watching yourself never reach it because you lack the grit to keep going. It's not that you weren't good enough. It's not that the world was unfair. It's that when it came time to show up, day after day, you waited for the feeling instead of following the plan. Discipline teaches you that progress is made in inches, not miles. Most days are not cinematic. They're ordinary. The same routine, the same repetition, the same quiet effort. But that's how foundations are built. That's how muscle is grown. That's how greatness is formed. When no one is watching, the world sees the highlight, but discipline is made in the shadows. It's in the choices you make when nobody's clapping, when the camera's off, when the path seems slow. Discipline says, I don't need applause to believe in the process. I trust the grind. You will have days when it feels like nothing is changing, when you're tired, burnt out, and questioning everything. This is where most people quit. This is where dreams go to die. Not because they weren't real, but because someone gave up halfway across the bridge. But discipline isn't afraid of hard. It expects hard. It's built for it. It shows up in those moments and whispers, this isn't the end. Keep building. Keep moving. Keep showing up. Imagine if builders stopped building because they couldn't see the house yet. Imagine if the artists stopped painting because the canvas didn't look perfect after the first stroke. Imagine if a bird gave up flying because its wings got tired midair. No one ever said the climb would be easy. But the view at the top, that belongs only to those who kept going. And you don't get there by dreaming louder. You get there by working smarter, longer, and with more intention than anyone around you. Discipline is also about sacrifice. You don't get to say yes to everything and still expect extraordinary results. You will have to let go of some comforts, say no to distractions. Protect your time like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your future depends on your focus. And focus is not a product of talent. It's a product of discipline. You must train your mind, your body, your spirit to lock in on your goals and cut out what doesn't serve them. There's a quiet confidence that comes with discipline. It's not arrogant. It's rooted. Because when you know you've done the work, you don't need validation. You don't need shortcuts. You don't need to pretend. You're not intimidated by competition because you know no one has trained like you. You know the hours, the effort, the grind you've poured into becoming this version of yourself. That's the power of discipline. It gives you the authority to walk into any room and know you belong there. Not because of hype, but because of hard work. And here's the truth the world won't always tell you: talent is common. Discipline is rare. Everybody's got potential. Not everybody's got perseverance. But the people who change things, who shake the earth, who leave legacies, they're not always the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to quit, who stayed in the game, who built brick by brick until what they imagined became something they could stand in. So, if you've got a dream, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for someone to discover you. Stop asking the world to give you permission. Put your head down. Put your heart in. Build your bridge. Because you won't get to your dream by wishing harder. You'll get there by working longer. Showing up, falling down, rising up, again and again and again. Discipline is not glamorous, but it's powerful. It's not loud, but it's undefeated. And if you let it lead you, it will take you places talent alone never could. So build your dream like a builder lays bricks, one at a time, with patience and purpose. Let discipline be your blueprint. Let it be your anchor. Let it carry you through the valleys and prepare you for the mountaintops. Because in the end, it won't be the most talented who finish strong. It will be the most disciplined. The ones who stayed when it was hard, who rose when they were tired, who believed in the process when no one else could see the progress. And that, more than any gift you were born with, is what will turn your vision into a life. When we first start something, a dream, a goal, a purpose, it's often emotion that fuels the beginning. You feel inspired, passionate, maybe even unstoppable. You wake up excited, you make bold declarations, and you take those first steps with fire in your chest. But then something happens. The high fades. The excitement turns into repetition. The applause grows quiet. The result doesn't show up as quickly as you hoped. And suddenly, that initial energy begins to vanish. This is the breaking point for many, but not for the disciplined. Because discipline does not depend on how you feel. Discipline doesn't care about mood swings. Discipline is the rhythm that plays when motivation loses its melody. It's the drummer in the background that never stops keeping time, even when the lights go out and the stage feels empty. That's what makes it powerful. Emotion is a spark. Discipline is the fuel. Let's be clear, emotion isn't bad. It's beautiful. It gives meaning to our journeys. But it's also fragile. It's weather. It changes daily. And if you build your dreams only when the emotional skies are clear, you'll spend most of your life waiting instead of building. That's why people quit their goals after 2 weeks. That's why gyms are full in January and empty in March. That's why talent goes unnoticed. Because the fire that started it wasn't protected by discipline. Discipline says, I show up whether I feel like it or not. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you're committed to. It doesn't chase inspiration. It builds structure. And structure over time builds greatness. This is the secret most people don't want to hear. Success is boring. It's made up of ordinary days, repetition, sacrifice, silence. You do the work again and again with no immediate reward. You plant seeds and water them day after day with no sign of growth. That's not glamorous. That's not Instagram worthy. But that's the truth. And discipline is what keeps you watering when the soil looks dry. There will be days you don't feel like getting out of bed. Days you doubt yourself. Days when no one is clapping. Days when the voices in your head are louder than the ones cheering you on. That's when discipline becomes your anchor. Your quiet, unshakable promise to yourself. The decision you made before the struggle showed up. And here's something else. Discipline builds emotional endurance. The more you choose to show up in the absence of motivation, the stronger you become. You begin to realize that your emotions don't own you. You control them. You manage them. You rise above them. And that power, that's how you outlast everyone who started strong, but couldn't stay strong. People often look for hacks, for faster ways, for easier paths. But the truth is, the people who make it aren't the ones who had everything lined up perfectly. They're the ones who did what needed to be done, even when they didn't feel like it. They're the ones who treated every day like it mattered, even when no one was watching. They're the ones who traded temporary comfort for lasting progress. And here's the real reward over time. Discipline becomes your identity. You're no longer someone who's trying. to be consistent. You are consistent. You no longer struggle with the question of whether you're motivated. You've built a system that carries you regardless of your feelings. You become the kind of person who finishes what they start. And that kind of identity, that's rare, that's magnetic, that's powerful. This is not about becoming robotic. This is not about ignoring rest or pretending you're invincible. It's about understanding that feelings are visitors, but discipline is a resident. And the resident always has more authority than the visitor. When the visitor tells you to stay in bed, the resident says, "No, we rise." When the visitor says, "You're not good enough," the resident says, "Keep going anyway." When the visitor brings fear, the resident brings focus. Discipline also protects you from regret, because regret doesn't come from failing. It comes from not trying, from giving up, from knowing you could have done more, been more, shown up more, but you didn't. Discipline might be hard in the moment, but it's freedom in the future. It's peace. Because you know you gave your all. You know you didn't back down. You know you kept your word to yourself. And there is no power greater than that. The truth is, life will test you. Doors will close. People will disappoint you. Success will take longer than you expected. And if all you have is emotion, you'll walk away. You'll convince yourself it wasn't meant to be. But if you have discipline, you'll stay. You'll wait. You'll adjust. You'll rise. Because discipline makes you unshakable in a world that keeps trying to shake you. You won't need to scream to be heard. You won't need to prove your worth. You'll move in quiet confidence, knowing that your actions are louder than any words could be. And in a world obsessed with instant results, you'll be building something real, something that lasts. Because discipline doesn't give you a moment of glory. It gives you a lifetime of greatness. So the next time you don't feel like doing the work, remember this: emotions are temporary, but your purpose is permanent. Show up anyway. When you're tired, show up. When you're uninspired, show up. When it's hard, show up. Because every time you do, you're laying a brick. And eventually, those bricks will become a foundation so strong, no storm can shake it. Let discipline lead, and you'll go farther than talent ever could. Let it guide you, and you'll achieve more than emotion ever promised. Because when the fire burns low, and the world grows quiet, and the journey gets long, discipline is what keeps you in the room, building, growing, becoming. Not just once, but always. So when the world slams its doors and the lights go out, don't shrink, don't beg, don't wait for permission. Build your own stage, carve your own sky, and rise with the focus of a Shakira. Not because they let you in, but because you were born to soar. Let them watch as you fly where limits can't follow.